Now let us study about next topic, Newton's laws of motion. Now in junior classes you have already studied three laws of Newton. So we are not going to go into definitions. You already know the definitions of all, but we are going to explain, we are going to discuss about the actual meaning of each law. So let us start with the first law. Now we know the statement of the first law is that if a body is in rest, it will continue to be in rest, and if the body is in motion, it will continue to be in motion until unless it experiences an external force. An external force changes its state of motion or state of rest. So this law is also called inertia law, where inertia can be defined as the property of a body. Inertia is a property of a body to resist any change in its state of motion. Now, this state of motion can be having velocity, that is the body is moving, or if velocity is zero, then we would say that it is a state of motion is rest, the body is not moving. So the property of body to resist any change in this kind of situation is called inertia. Now, we already studied that state of motion means velocity. It is state of motion is defined by velocity. If velocity is zero, the body is at rest. If velocity is not zero, the body is in motion. So that means to change velocity, we can write to change velocity, we need to apply some force. So if force is applied on a body, the velocity will change. But how much the velocity will change due to F is decided by inertia. The state of motion is V. We already know that if we apply force on a body, we can accelerate the body. That in that case, the velocity will increase, or we can apply the force on the opposite side of the motion, and the body will deaccelerate and velocity will decrease. But how much will this change will be there due to application of force? Now, this quantity is called. It is dependent upon inertia, and inertia is directly proportional to mass. That means if the body is heavy, it will be more difficult for a force to change its state of motion. And if the body is light, it will have less inertia, and its state of motion can be easily changed with the help of force. So we can understand them with an example. Suppose this is a body, let us say that this is a light body. A light body of mass m, and it is at rest. Initially its velocity is zero. Now if a force is applied in this direction, the body, it will start moving with some velocity v. Now the body is in motion. So for light body, since it is light body, the change in velocity from v equals to 0 to v equals to some value of v, this change in velocity will be large for a given force. But if let us say that body is heavy, if it has large mass m and a force is applied, then it might start moving. If the force is enough to make the body move, so body might start moving with some velocity. But this change in velocity from v equals to 0 to v equals to v will be small for a given f. So that means whatever is the change in the state of motion, that will be governed by this concept of inertia, which is directly proportional to mass. Now let us come to the second law. Now the second law, we know the statement already. Second law states that the force is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum, and momentum we know that momentum is given by mv. That means if a body is moving with certain velocity, only in that case there will be a momentum. And if we are changing the momentum, if there is a change in momentum, that means there is a change in velocity. Now, why does a velocity change? We have already studied that velocity changes when unbalanced forces act on it. If there is only one force, just like here in the first law, if there is only one force, then obviously the velocity will change. But let us say that if there are more than one forces, then it is necessary that the forces are unbalanced, so that there is some net force applied on the body. Only in that case there will be a change in velocity, and hence there will be a change in momentum. So we can also call this law, second law, as law of unbalanced forces. And what is the condition of unbalanced forces? That the summation of all the forces should not be equal to 0. Now, we have already studied that force can be expressed in the formula of mass into acceleration. So that means if we have more than one force and we add all these forces, then there should be some acceleration produced in the body, and that will happen only if the forces are unbalanced. Now, also by the definition of second law, force is equal to rate of change of momentum. So we can write it as rate of change of momentum. Momentum is v. Now we know that momentum will change if v will change, so we can use differentiation here. So this is the change in momentum mdv. I'll write it here. It is a change in momentum mdv, and rate of change of momentum is in a time t. So F equals to mdv upon t. This is change in momentum upon the time taken to bring this change about. Now if we know that from this formula here, mv is p, so mdv means dp, small change in momentum, so we can write F as dp upon dt. This is the rate of change of momentum. So we have two mathematical expressions of second law of Newton. One is force equals to ma, and another is force equals to rate of change of momentum. But the common thing remains is this, that the forces have to be balanced for this change to come around. Now let us go to the third law. Let us do it on next page. The third law is action and reaction law. We already know the statement that each and every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Let us understand what this means. Now, first important thing about the third law, like first and second law, it is not linked to motion of body. First law and second law are linked to the motion of the body. In first law, we are changing state of motion. In the second law, we are applying unbalanced forces to change the motion, to change the velocity. In third law, it is not at all linked with the motion of the body. It is actually related to how a force is applied. It is related to application of force on bodies. Now it says the important point here, first important point about third law is that it says forces always act in pair. What does this mean? It means that when a force is applied, there is always an equal and opposite reaction. So let us understand with the help of example. Suppose there is a box lying on the ground, and there is a boy who applies the force on this box. Let us say this is box B and the boy is A. Now if boy applies a force F1 on B in this direction, then by third law B will also apply a same force F2 in the opposite direction on A. So A is applying force on B while B is applying force on A. So who is doing the action? The action is done by A because he starts applying the force, and the reaction from B is the force F2, which is equal to F1 but in opposite direction. So the magnitude of F1 is equal to the magnitude of F2, and if we talk about the direction, then we can write it like this. So these two statements are the important inference that we can draw from third law. But here if you look carefully, we can draw another important point about these actions and reactions, that action and reaction are always equal and opposite. That means if boy is applying a force of 10 Newton, then the 10 Newton on the box, then the box will also apply 10 Newton back. It will not happen that the boy is applying a force of 10 Newton but the box is applying the force of 20 Newton on the boy. So it will, action and reaction will always be equal and opposite. And the third important point is action and reaction both act on different bodies. What does this mean? This means if you look at this diagram carefully, F1 is the force applied by the boy, applied by A on B. So the force by A on B is F1. This is the important thing. It is applied by A on B. Now the reaction force F2 is applied by B on A. This is F2. That means F1 is being applied on B while F2 is being applied on A. So these are two different bodies. That is what is meant when we say that action and reaction both act on different bodies. So make sure that you understand these 3 points carefully so that you can apply third law of Newton in various questions. Now let us come to the next important topic which will help us in solving numericals. We can call them commonly used forces, the kind of forces that we are going to study in our syllabus of mechanics. So basically we are going to study two kind of application of force in proper discussion. So we can write first is the normal reaction. Now here I am just giving you an overview. In later videos we are going to discuss these forces in detail. So normal reaction at contacts, and the second is tension in strings. Tension in strings, it is denoted by T. Normal reaction are denoted by N. Now make no mistake that these are nothing but forces. We are just giving the names, different name to the forces so that we can understand how they are applied on the bodies. Both of them are nothing but forces only. Tension in string is a force and the normal reaction also is a force. It will become more clear when we do the examples. Now both of these forces are actually electromagnetic in nature. They are electromagnetic in nature because they depend upon the intermolecular forces of attraction and repulsion. So they come in the category of electromagnetic forces. Now let us say that let us do an example. Let us say there is a ground and there is a box of mass m kept on the ground. Now the normal force is that this box will apply a normal means perpendicular. It will apply a perpendicular or normal force in the downward direction. Let us say this force is N. Let us say this force is N. Then as a reaction by third law of Newton, the ground will also apply the same force N in the opposite direction, that is in upward direction. And the angle between them, angle between the normal and the ground will be 90 degree because they are perpendicular. Now in this case we know that for a box of mass m, its weight is acting downward on the surface. That means this N is equal to mg actually. So So we can write this force as mg and the reactionary force as n. Now if this body is in equilibrium, if this body is in static equilibrium, that is, it is not moving in upward or downward direction, that means the two forces are balanced, or we can say that n equals to mg. So this is the first case, the normal reaction at the point of contact. This is the point of contact. Second, the tension of the in the string, we can take an example that with the help of a string, a mass is suspended from a rigid support. Now the same thing happens here. There will be a downward force. We know that this force is same as the weight of the mass, and because of this weight mg in downward direction, there will be a tension generated in the string. There will be a force which will try to expand this string. So a tension will be generated in the string, and that tension will be in this direction. So here also, if this system is in equilibrium, then T become equals to mg. So these are the two kinds of commonly used forces in mechanics. This is the normal reaction force at contact points, and this is the tension in string. In later videos we will discuss them in detail.